And welcome along to After Effects tutorials. We have been working in the last couple of videos in creating a animated 3D logo, so yours will look something like mine, I hope. And we've got various bits of animation rotating around their various axes. We've discussed the X and the Y axis as well as the Z axis, giving us this sense of space. So we want to take this a little bit further now, in that we want to have our animated logo sort of fly in from the side and sort of come up to the middle of the screen, much like you would see a television promotion or a movie title, something like that. So let's go ahead and do that. And the first thing I'd want to do is have all my layers in an easily manageable way, and one of the best ways to do that is via pre-composition. So I'm going to do that. So pre-composition simply means grouping, or effectively it's going to group our layers together. So layer, pre-compose, and we can give that a name, and I'm just going to give it a quick little name so I know what it is, and it's going to put it straight back into our composition window as a single piece. Now I have this logo screen, I can move it around if I so chose, and I can put another piece of it on, so I could have as many of these logos on screen as I want at any time. So really the possibilities are staggering in what you can do with composition, pre-composed layers. Okay, so I'm going to the front, and this is just going to make it more manageable for us. So the next thing we're going to do is create something else that we haven't done much of yet, and that is to establish a null object. Okay, now a null object, simply speaking, is an invisible layer that we can animate. It has all the animatable attributes of anything else we might have encountered to this time, and we can rotate and scale and position this null object in the same way as we could animate anything else. And it's simply one of the best ways to create complex animation. So let's just hide our logo for a moment and have a look at our null object here. And there it is there on screen. First thing, I'm going to change its pan position, pan behind point, or anchor point. I'm going to grab that guy there, and so that now I can scale him or do anything from the middle, and that's very important to be able to do that. So okay, I'm going to just pop him down a little bit like that, and I'm going to just, maybe I think he might come from over here. It's going to be sort of slightly off screen a little bit. Now let's see what we can do in terms of animation. I'm probably going to be wanting to change his position. I think I might want to scale it. Maybe I'll rotate it, and maybe I'll even change some opacity settings. So currently the opacity is going to be set to 0, which is okay. I want it to sort of fade in, and I'm going to come along a little bit on my timeline, and I'm going to drag, he's going to drag him over here perhaps, like so. That's not too bad. I'm just going to pull him back here a little bit and drag him out, so I get a nice little curved flick in somewhere like so, and I might drag him back onto the middle of the screen, at the same time making him big. And I can change most of these points and get a fluid looking sort of travelling logo, and he's going to pop up, and maybe we might even make him a bit bigger. Let's see what that looks like. Pop down. So there's my animation, or I've animated my null object. I'm just about there. That's not too bad. I'm just going to go to the very start, and where's my, at the very end, I beg your pardon. I'm going to put a new keyframe in there, and I want him to be 100% opacity, or completely visible. At this point I might just change some of these things here. Yeah, so he's going to not only get larger as he comes on screen, but become more visible or opaque. That's not too bad. I like that. Okay, so I can live with that. So let's just close him up again, and show our logo. So at the point in time, I'm going to just get my logo, and I'm just going to scale him down a little bit so he's roughly the same size as my null object, like so. And now I'm going to tie this logo to the animation properties of that null object. And very simply, it's a matter of getting this pick whip, if you like, that's the word there, and I'm going to drag that to the null object. And now I see that the null object, or the logo, is the parent or is the child of the null object. It should obey the properties of the null object. So let's go ahead and hit return and see how we go. And there you go. So our null object now is dictating how our logo comes on screen. So that might be a very difficult thing to do otherwise. Lastly, I'm going to come back to the beginning of my animation, and I'm going to put in a new layer, new solid layer. Just for fun, we might put in a nice bluey colour like such. I'm going to say OK, and I am now going to put an effect on this fellow, and the effect I'm going to be looking for is simulation, and I'm going to go with the ever popular starburst. So there's my starburst, and again, with any effect, the variables and the animated properties are almost infinite. There is so many ways we can change the amount of, or the intensity of any effect that we choose, and so our animation will come through. Let's have a bit of a look, get up a bit closer, and hit the space bar. So there's our animated logo, and so today we've discussed the null object, and we've discussed parenting. Parenting a composition or an element to a null object allows us to build more complicated and complex animations. So I hope that was interesting, and get practicing, and I'll see you next time. See ya.